Close your eyes for an instant. Imagine that everything around you is a reflection of what you hold within. This is the power of conscious creation. Close your eyes for an instant. Imagine that everything around you, the ground you walk on, the air you breathe, the people who cross your path, is merely a reflection, an image projected from what you silently hold within yourself. Imagine that there is no chance, luck, or coincidence. Everything is law, and this law responds without fail to what you assume to be true. This is the basis of conscious creation, and that is why when someone says a phrase with true faith, the universe bows. Not because the words have power, but because the speaker becomes the power behind them. Most people live believing that money is out there, distant, hidden in some opportunity, in some job, in some stroke of luck. They don't understand that money is not something to be conquered. It is something to be reflected. The material world is merely a mirror. It shows with perfect precision what you believe yourself to be. That is why some work hard and remain poor, while others speak gently and attract wealth effortlessly. It is not work that creates abundance. It is the inner state. When I say use this phrase once, I'm not talking about magic, superstition, or enchanted words. I'm talking about an inner command, a silent decision where you recognize I am the cause. The world is the effect. In that instant, you cease being a creature asking the universe to act, and you become the creator who gives orders to reality itself. You awaken to what you have always been, the center of consciousness that molds all forms, the invisible breath that moves circumstances. The phrase is merely the key, but the key only works if turned with the right consciousness. And that consciousness is the unshakable knowledge that you lack nothing. That abundance is already yours. That money, like all expressions of energy, is attracted by the vibrant field of one who already is what they wish to be. If you say the words only with your lips, nothing will change. But if you pronounce them with an awakened heart, with the certainty of one who does not doubt, then you will see the response emerge. Sometimes so naturally, so perfectly, that it will seem like coincidence. It's not coincidence, it's law. Everything you see is merely the shadow of what you have assumed to be true in the invisible, and whoever masters this truth no longer needs to chase anything because the world chases them. First, understand the nature of the seed. Everything you affirm in the present is planted in the invisible and will take form in the visible. Creation does not respond to I want or one day I will have. It responds to I am. I am is the Creator's password. That is why Scripture reveals the name as I am. And that is why it says, tell the weak I am strong. It is not poetry, it is spiritual technology. When you declare I am the wealth the world reflects, you are not describing your account balance. You are defining the state that will govern what the account, people, and circumstances will be obliged to reflect. The effect bows to the cause. The cause is your assumed state. Now, see life symbolically. The field is the world. The seed is your affirmation in the present. The soil is your imagination. You plant once and seal it. No one plants and digs up the soil every hour to see if the seed has sprouted. That kills the seed. Likewise, repeating out of desperation, checking for signs, measuring results every minute is to unearth the creation. Plant and water with silence, gratitude, and consistent conduct. Anticipatory gratitude is water. Confident silence is light. Consistent action is warmth. Within 24 hours, the invisible finds ways to present itself. An unexpected call, an invitation, a discount, an advance payment, an old sale that unlocks, an agreement that seemed stalled and moves forward. Do not demand how. That is the field's part. Beware of subtle negations. You might say, I am prosperous, and 5 minutes later sigh, complain about the price, refuse to see an opportunity, or recount a tale of bad luck. This is uprooting the seed and planting another of scarcity. The law has no humor. It merely mirrors what you uphold. That is why internal discipline is gold. When the old mind comes with what if it doesn't come, respond with posture, not with words. Breathe. Straighten your shoulders. See yourself as already having received, and go about your day as one who knows. A king does not explain decrees. He issues them. Practical exercise to seal the seed. Close your eyes for 60 seconds. Relax your tongue. Release your abdomen. Breathe through your nose. See for an instant a simple post fact, not fireworks, but a detail of completed reality. You saying thank you after seeing a receipt, you putting away your phone after a payment message, you calmly closing your wallet, feeling the lightness of one who has. Feel the scene. Do not observe it from outside. You are within it. Then pronounce just once internally as one signing a decree, I am the wealth the world reflects. Open your eyes and drop the subject. During the day, confirm the seed through behavior. Pay small things without fear. Organize your accounts with order and appreciation. Treat opportunities with readiness. This is not forcing manifestation. It is acting in accordance with who you already are. Remember Abraham. He called things which are not as though they were. This is how creation works. You call in the present, and the present governs the future. Plant correctly, seal with silence, water with gratitude, and walk as one who has. The rest is harvest. The second truth is to understand that imagination is not fantasy. It is the altar where creation happens. Everything that exists in the physical world was first accepted in the inner world. There are no exceptions. The common person's error is to treat imagination as child's play, while treating reality as something solid and immutable. But the initiate, the one who awakens to the law, does the opposite. They honor their imagination as the only sacred place where things truly originate. That is why Christ said, when you pray, go into your room and shut the door. The room is the mind, and the door is the turning off of the sensory world. Inside, you do not ask, you create. Imagination is the soul studio. When you imagine something and feel it to be real, you are molding the invisible substance of life. It does not distinguish between the real and the imagined. It merely reproduces what is assumed with feeling. If you see yourself as poor, humiliated, lacking, and feel this as truth, no matter what you say afterward, that is the state the law will obey. Imagination is a faithful servant. It does not judge, does not question, it merely reflects. Therefore, the first task for anyone desiring abundance is to purify the imagination. It is to abandon scenes of lack and consciously inhabit the image of fullness. Try this now. Close your eyes and see yourself not asking but possessing. See yourself living the result, not the process. Do not see money coming. See money already arrived. See yourself breathing a sigh of relief, feeling the weight of gratitude in your chest, at observing the glow of prosperity as something natural. Feel this internal reality until it completely replaces the world around you. Emotion is the seal of creation. What you feel deeply already exists in the invisible and will begin to press upon the physical world to become visible. The rational mind will say, but it hasn't happened yet. And this is where the disciple separates from the common person. The disciple smiles and responds, yes, it has happened within me. They know that everything seen is born of the invisible and that persisting in the inner vision is more powerful than chasing external appearances. Therefore, while the world rushes, they remain quiet, imagining with faith. And time, obedient, merely organizes circumstances. Imagination is not escape, it is mastery. To escape is to dream without faith. To master is to imagine with consciousness. The person who imagines with purpose does not try to manipulate others, but their own inner state. They do not say they should pay me. They say I am the one who receives. They do not say I hope it works out. They say I am the one for whom everything flows correctly. This inversion is the beginning of freedom. Thus, when you say I am the wealth the world reflects, do not visualize banknotes, safes, or numbers. Visualize the feeling. See yourself as the source. See money as a reflection, not as a goal. Imagination is the mirror of eternity. It creates the invisible, and the world bows to copy it. Whoever understands this never begs again, because they perceive that imagination sustained with faith is the true treasure, and from it all visible wealth inevitably springs. The third truth is to understand the role of time. Time is neither punishment nor obstacle. It is the means by which the invisible becomes visible. The impatient person destroys their own harvest because they do not understand that every creation needs to mature. They plant and want to reap at the same instant. But the law does not work under anxiety. It works under certainty. When you say within 24 hours, do not impose haste. Impose faith. Physical time is merely the necessary movement for the invisible to organize itself around your assumption. It is like lighting a flame in a dark room. It does not create the room, it merely reveals what was already there. Time is the ally of one who knows how to wait with consciousness. It is not the empty waiting of one who doubts, but the powerful waiting of one who has already decided. Time works for the person who trusts, because when you assume the state of wealth, the unconscious mind, which is the matrix of all reality, begins to adjust facts, people, and circumstances to reflect that. You may not see the movement, but it is in progress. It is at this point that many give up saying nothing happened. But what they call nothing is merely the invisible stage of manifestation, just as a grain germinates in the dark before breaking through the earth. Your assumptions also need this period of silence. When you declare, "I am the wealth the world reflects," the universe begins a reorganization. Ideas emerge, doors open, synchronicities appear. But to perceive them, you need inner calm. One who lives watching the clock is affirming absence. Time bows only to those who ignore it, to those who live as if they have already received. Therefore, the secret is not to make time rush, but to rest in it. Rest is the proof of faith. Observe the cycles of nature. The sun rises and sets effortlessly. The seasons change without warning. Flowers open without anxiety. Everything flows in harmony because everything operates under the same law. Haste is human. Creation is divine. One who aligns with the rhythm of the invisible discovers that life is never late. It merely reveals at the exact moment. When you trust, time becomes your servant. When you doubt, it becomes your prison. So when you say the phrase, "Feel time as your ally," say it once and enter into rest. Do not expect something to happen. Recognize that it has already happened. The interval between the invisible and the visible is merely the space where your faith is tested. Remain firm not because of circumstances, but because of the inner knowledge that everything is already fulfilled. You do not need to see the seed sprout to know it is alive. You do not need to see the money to know it is coming. Time is merely the path between the decree and the harvest, and one who walks with certainty has already arrived even before seeing the destination. The fourth truth is that anticipatory gratitude is the seal of manifestation. It is proof that you have already assumed the desired state and ceased to be a supplicant, becoming a creator. When you give thanks before seeing, you are affirming that it already exists in the invisible and that the visible is merely adjusting to reflect it. Gratitude is not a superficial emotion, nor an optimism technique. It is a silent declaration of mastery. I have already received the ungrateful implore the grateful command, and that is why gratitude is a portal. It instantly places you in the state of possession, and everything corresponding to that state begins to move toward you. You can say thank you without feeling anything, and it will have no power. But if you say it with a full heart as one who truly recognizes the miracle fulfilled, that vibration touches the invisible and accelerates the return. Gratitude is faith in the form of feeling. And since the law does not respond to words, but to states, it moves immediately in favor of one who vibrates with certainty. The person who gives thanks for what they do not yet see demonstrates that they have understood the secret. They need no proof because the feeling itself is the proof. Practice this now. Upon awakening, do not think about what is missing. Close your eyes and say silently, not as one who pleads, but as one who ascertains, "Thank you," because everything is already resolved. Do not say it out of habit. Say it as one contemplating something achieved. Imagine yourself surrounded by signs of abundance, not empty luxury, but real fullness. See life responding to you with ease. The simple act of giving thanks transforms the field. Where there is gratitude, there is no resistance. And where there is no resistance, manifestation flows. The small mind will say, "But how can I give thanks for something I do not yet have?" And it is precisely here that the dreamer separates from the creator. The dreamer needs to see to believe. The creator believes and then sees. Giving thanks beforehand is the same as sealing an invisible contract with your own consciousness. It is saying to life, "I know it has already been done," and life, faithful to the law, confirms it. Gratitude is also the purest form of faith because it eliminates fear. No one fears losing what they are fully grateful for. Fear is the absence of gratitude, and gratitude dissolves fear as the sun dissolves mist. Therefore, each time doubt tries to infiltrate, give thanks. Do not fight with doubt. It loses strength when you ignore it and turn your attention to certainty. So when you say, I am the wealth the world reflects, close your eyes and feel gratitude rise like a gentle welcome for what already is. Say thank you not with haste, but with reverence, as one who touches the invisible with the hands of the heart. This is the vibration that moves mountains, that opens paths, that transforms the invisible into form. Gratitude is the creator's signature, and when it is genuine, the universe hastens to fulfill the decree. The fifth truth is silence. Silence is the seal of faith, the creator's final act before the invisible becomes visible. After the word is spoken with conviction, the truly wise person becomes silent. They do not argue with the world, do not seek signs, do not explain what they have done. They know that creation is already complete, and that from that instant time's role is merely to reveal what is already determined in the invisible. Silence is the rest of the spirit that knows. Knowing in its highest sense is feeling one with the desired outcome, without doubt, without effort, without noise. The common person talks too much because they doubt. They repeat their prayers, watch for results, compare days, analyze signs. Each time they do this, they unconsciously affirm that it has not yet happened, and thus they interrupt the flow of creation. But one who has learned the law acts like a king, gives their order, and proceeds in peace. There is no anxiety in one who has authority. There is no haste in one who already knows the order has been fulfilled. Silence is therefore the language of those who know power. It is in silence that energy organizes itself, that pieces move, that the invisible works in your favor. The word casts the seed. Silence allows it to sprout. If you talk too much, you interrupt the process. If you become silent, the universe responds. Therefore, after declaring, I am the wealth the world reflects, silence yourself internally and externally. Do not doubt, do not repeat, do not question. Live as one who already possesses, and the world will hasten to confirm. True silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the internal stillness that arises when the mind ceases to interfere. It is certainty without explanation, the serenity of one who needs no proof. This calm is magnetic. It attracts the fulfillment of the word. When you become silent internally, the world speaks for you. Circumstances, people, and coincidences move like invisible servants to give form to your decree.